Welcome back to the channel. The internet has been ablaze over the Jonah Hill text messages, and people have been asking me to respond. And I did in my podcast with my wife called Shrink Wrap, which I will show you right now. So just so you know, I have a podcast with my wife called Shrink Wrap, there's a YouTube channel, and you can listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. And then all of the videos that I record on this channel on Pop Psych, I have now uploaded in podcast form. So if you're driving and you want to hear the audio version of any of these YouTube videos, go to Pop Psych with David Colarossi, and you can hear them there. You won't get my beautiful face, but you can get the audio. So here's a clip of Shrink Wrap.
Hi, welcome to Shrink Wrapped. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Jonah Hill and his ex-girlfriend. I think what's her name? Brady or something? Mm-hmm. I think you may be able to help with this, but from my understanding, they were a couple for a year, and they really liked each other. Mm-hmm. And they had a breakup, and instead of keeping their stuff private, she posted all about his abusive tactics online, mm-hmm. which I agree 100%. They are abusive tactics. And I just thought it was an interesting move on her part.
Yeah.
Like it seems like abuse with abuse.
Abuse with
like
abuse.
Like they're trying to outdo each other with abuse.
How is she abusive?
I think she's trying to humiliate.
Oh, now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have so many thoughts about this, and so I'm trying to think of how do I streamline my thoughts, because they're not organized, but I have a lot. I have a reaction
welcome
to
my world.
Okay, good. Okay. So just as a high level summary, just based on what whatever was posted, she posted on Instagram. She's talking about her recovery from this abusive relationship from this guy that was a narcissist, from this guy that was, emotionally abusive. And she posts these text messages. And I think if you read the text messages, you have two reactions. One reaction, I think, from the lion's share of people that read it is, it's not that bad. He's not telling her that she's a horrible person. He's not telling her that he hates her. He's not being vicious.
Well, I think what he is being is, I don't think he's being mean in that way, but he's being controlling and wanting to steal her identity.
So okay, so
right?
Yeah. So I think that there's two sides of this. Like one side is you look at it and go, okay, here's what I think. I feel like we have to be careful of looking at everything and being like, you're an abuser. I think that people in relationships, and I think in a lot of relationships, people engage in behavior that is abusive. And I think we have to be able to label that like that's an abusive behavior. And certainly if you look at his text messages, while he wasn't intentionally being ruthless or diminishing or any of those things, if you look at it, just the energy around his text messages. I mean, you see him write, it'll be like 7 long paragraph-long texts saying, you're doing, take down this picture, I'm too insecure, you can't put that out there, I'm not comfortable being in a relationship with someone who does that kind of stuff, take it down. He's not trying to be a dick, but he's being a dick because he's controlling her behavior. And you can see him just sort of venting, and her response is like, I did it, or I'm sorry, or, I love this. It wasn't two people bringing the same amount of ammo to the fight. He is just attacking her, and she's kind of saying, being more sort of deferential. So I think it's like that's a true dynamic that we have to point out. So that's one thing, is I think it's easy to look at it and go, it's not abusive because he's not saying horrific things to her. But I would also argue it is important to note that it is abusive because it's controlling.
Yeah.
And in that way, it's definitely Like you have to call that what it is. I also thought it was concerning because he does what I think a lot of people do, and I think that I do this, which is he uses his, the guy's obviously been in therapy for a long time. He knows the right kind of psycho lingo to use. He has the same kind of energy that like Steven Crowder had, where he's like, I'm so much more self-aware of how the dynamics that are at play here. And I am telling you, here's what needs to happen, and here's why you're wrong, and here's what I'm willing to be in a relationship with. And the implication is there that she is not as sophisticated emotionally as he is, and therefore she is stupid. Like he's leveraged. I feel like Jonah Hill was leveraging his, knowledge of psychobabble to be very dismissive of her. Does that make sense? Like there's a flavor. I'm feeling like I'm not articulating that well, but there was almost felt like a misuse of his time in therapy. So like, let me give an example. At one point in it, he goes, I know I have a lot of work to do, and I've been in therapy, and I've learned what I can tolerate in a relationship, and what you're doing, I can't tolerate. So you need to take down these pictures. Otherwise, I'm not willing to be in a relationship with you. If you want to have kids and get married and want to have a stable environment, then you need to change these friends, because I know what makes a relationship work, and what you're doing was going to undermine the relationship. Like he's putting himself, he's acting like he's being vulnerable, but he's putting himself, he's one-upping her as far as knowledge and experience. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes. And yeah. I would say, I think like he probably like talked to his therapist before he wrote those text messages, or had a similar conversation, and she said to him, like, you need to know what your boundaries are. And you need to, you need to decide whether or not you want to be in a relationship. You're not going to like that. You need to decide whether or not you're going to be in a relationship with that person. It's really bad. I don't like it either. Awful. I know. I don't know what I doctored it too much.
Sorry.
And instead of him like being introspective and deciding what his own boundaries were, he decided like, I'm going to tell you what my boundaries are, and it's up to you if you want to be in a relationship with me.
So here's the question for you, for Allison. What if for Jonah, given Jonah's level of insecurity, right? We all know he's got body image issues. He's been really transparent about that, and he's working on feeling more comfortable. And here he is dating this woman who he acknowledges in the text messages is beautiful. And he's like, I respect the fact that you're beautiful and that you're hot and you want to show your body off, but I don't like it because I'm insecure, which is what he said in the text message. Is that a fair position to have?
I mean, I think he's just being honest about it.
I agree. Like, everybody, I feel like a lot of people are looking at it and being like, well, that's an unreasonable request from him to say to his girlfriend, hey, take the,
Well, I agree it's unreasonable for him to request that.
Yes.
But I think he is acknowledging his feelings about it, and like we can't not allow people to have feelings about stuff.
I agree with you 100%. Like, that's how I feel about it. So to me, I look at him and I think,
he doesn't seem like a narcissist to me. He just seems like...
No, I think the use of the word narcissist to describe him is unfounded. I just think it's a bizarre move to, like, if you really cared about this person, like, to post your dirty laundry online. For her to do. Okay, but can we stick on Jonah just for a second? Yeah. So if you look at it and go, he has the right to that feeling. He has the right to say, hey, I'm uncomfortable with her wearing that on the internet. Why do you then also say that what he did was controlling?
I think it's controlling because, like, number one, that's how he met her. So, like, she already had those on the internet. All those pictures were prior to his relationship with her.
I don't understand. Can I just interrupt and say more? I don't understand that line. The way that you dressed when I met you Well, you and I would have some discussions if you wore the same outfits
David,
today.
you constantly complain that I haven't changed my style since you met me, so I disagree.
Why do you disagree with that?
I still dress the same.
You don't. You do. You had the girls out a lot more than they are today.
That's just because they're sadder.
But I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's a fair statement. Everybody's upset with him because they're like, oh well, that's how she had those pictures up when you started dating her, and now you don't want them up. And he's thinking, yeah, I saw those pictures, and I pursued her because she looks super hot, and now I'm feeling insecure. I want her to be committed to me, and it feels like she's not being committed because I know what I thought when I saw those pictures. I know what all these other people are thinking when they see those pictures. Like, why is that unreasonable? Why does it matter if she had them up before?
Well, I wonder if, like, maybe instead of saying, if you want to be in a relationship with me, then you'll take them down. If he could have changed it and been like, I'm kind of uncomfortable with those pictures up there.
Yeah.
Like, how would you feel about not having them up there anymore?
Yeah.
And then make a decision from there. But he being like, you need to take them down.
Yeah.
I feel like my personality would be to put more up.
You would put nudes up. If I talked to you
100%.
the way that he did, you'd put nudes. So I agree. I think we probably see this the same way, which I think it's a reasonable thing and even a healthy thing to be able to say to your spouse or your partner, hey, what you're doing is making me feel insecure, even though it's a ludicrous position to take. I know what I'm thinking is unreasonable, but this is how I feel. You should be able to say that, but you shouldn't go on a massive rant and use your, psychobabble, whatever he's doing, your emotional, he's using his emotional gravitas to make her feel stupid so that he can control her. Right?
I just feel like he's so immature, and I feel like she is too.
Okay, so say more about the part where what don't you like about her?
I just think it's a weird thing, like what we're dealing with. Like, now you're never going to feel psychological safety in a relationship because if it sours, someone's going to post your dirty laundry and call you a narcissist for everyone to see.